Summary of Daf Kuf Zayin, page 107 in Torah Ohr. Welcome. So we are concluding a mimer, and then we'll go on to the explanation on that mimer regarding the celebration and joy of Chassan and Kala, of the groom and bride, and we're connecting this with what it says that Hashem will take us to the land of milk and honey. So now the idea of honey is that it preserves, and spiritually this means to preserve the soul in the body. The soul wants to ascend up to Hashem, and the honey is the idea that stay in the body. This is actually more precious than going up to Hashem, because going up to Hashem means you can't take the body with, that the body's an impediment, whereas staying here, staying within and doing mitzvahs within the physical world shows that nothing is an impediment from Hashem. And that's the simcha of the Kala, the celebration of the bride, that when you're in a happy mood, then you extend outward. Pleasure could be internal. Whereas happiness, especially simcha, sasan is a different type of happiness, but simcha is about outward expression, and therefore it's where Hashem is. Our relationship with Hashem can be even within this world. Then Hashem responds in kind, like a mirror, and the joy of the groom is Hashem, and the bride is the Jewish people, so is responding in kind to extend outward towards us, like a king who comes out of his palace and greets all the people and displays his special possessions that are normally treasures that are normally hidden. He displays it for everyone. Okay, now next mimer with the explanation. It says in Kabbalah that honey comes from gevura, severity, and that surprising honey is of course sweet, but it has severity in it. The fact that it squeezes and holds and preserves whatever's inside the honey, and then eventually transforms whatever's inside the honey to become part of the honey. And so this is a gevura, the severity and the preserving and then transforming. Now, there's two types of severity. One is where it blocks it, when a soul does not want anything to do with this physical world. It just wants to elevate up to Hashem. So that's a state of gevura. It wants out of all this rubbish. Just let me go back up to my source. But then there's a second type of gevura, a second type of strength and severity, that it's about, on the contrary, letting Hashem's light come down to us, just that it does it with passion. And the gevura is in the strength and the passion of the experience and of the giving over. And there it's not really purely gevura, it's gevura within chesed, severity within kindness. And that's what honey really is. It's sweetness, but within sweetness it's got this gevura element, which gives it the capacity of preserving and then transforming. So let's turn the page. Now there's when we talk about pleasure, there's the essence of pleasure, and then there's the how it can be expressed. Now, when pleasure is expressed in a specific enjoyable experience, so then there's two ways that it's limited. Number one, it's limited because it's a specific area of pleasure, which it's the depth of pleasure is just the soul feeling at peace. Whereas when you talk about specifics, let's say you like artwork, so that's only a limited pleasure. It's not the essence of the soul feeling at peace. Number two is that every person likes a different type of art, or a different type of food, a different type of music. So then there's even within the pleasure, it's only within that pleasure, which is only a manifestation, not the essence. It's only a specific type. So that is all gevura, this severity which divides up and limits within pleasure. Now, with the metaphor for pleasure with Hashem is atik, which is, like we said, pleasure is about the soul feeling at peace. So it's like an essence. It's like going the soul at essence rather than the soul as it's expressed outward. And then the gevura within that is like dividing it into a specific pleasure and specific details. and therefore it has limits. Whereas essential pleasure, for example, the wedding of an only child, so that's a time where it's just the essence of pleasure, and then there's no limits. And then even a person who's normally very careful with money will now feel totally free and generous. And that's because it's unlimited pleasure in that state. In that state. Now, to descend into specific spheres, for Hashem's light to descend into specific attributes, whether intellectual attributes, emotional attributes, that comes only through Gevurah, through the severity, which limits the Hashem's light, and therefore to descend into Chachma comes only from Gevurah, whereas from Chesed, from the side of kindness, will always stay beyond, like the skull which surrounds the brain. So according to that, it sounds like Chachma, the idea of wisdom, comes only from Gevurah. Otherwise, you wouldn't have specifics. But on the other hand, it says in other Kabbalistic sources that the Sfirat of Chachma, which is when you have a brainstorm, an idea, and then Chesed, which is loving kindness, and Netzach, which is that strength to go forward no matter what. It literally means victory. So they are on the right, meaning on the side of love, not on the left, the side of limitation and severity. So what's going on? So the answer is that in order to have Chachma altogether, that comes from a tzimtzum, from contraction, limitation, concealment. So that's on the left. But once Chachma comes into existence, what the way Chachma operates is a chesed, a right side, a kindness, loving kindness side of the coin, way that it operates, and therefore it has both elements. It comes into existence because of severity, but once it is in existence, it is part of the right, part of the loving kindness side, and therefore. We've got Gevurah creating something on the side of Chesed, severity creating something on the side of kindness, and this is related to the honey, which is the mix of severity with kindness.